Hello everyone, today we are going to present our presentation of international trade and enterprises. This is our first assignment related to pattern of trade, and we are 5 in our group member. So basically trade is the exchange of goods and services between nations. Goods that are taken out from the country is known as export. Goods that are brought in a country is known as import. So pattern of trade is a way and method in which trade is carried on. Now I'm going to talk about China trade pattern. Basically, China trade experience dramatically changed since late 1970s, where government support in business factor like foreign direct investment, free trade zone, and encourage people to do business. Mostly China trade with G8 country, where Chinese largest trading partner is USA. um, Talking about Australia, Australia generally trade coal, iron, metal, and wools all over the world. Also, China is the largest trading partner of Australia. Thank
Thanks
you.
Ashok for explaining the introduction part of pattern of trade. I am Nisha Bhania Kesi, student ID PP2049, explaining about the trading pattern of Australia in last 30 years. Australia trade has always been the key components of economy. As Australia has followed the open market. This helped the economy to be dynamic and flexible. Australia agriculture feed 60 million people around the world, and the major export service that Australia export outside the country include education and tourism, professional and financial service. The top five Australian export destinations are China, Japan, Republic of Korea, India, and United States. Like this, the Australia top five import destinations are China, United States, Japan, Germany, and Thailand. In case of China, the Australia has the highest export and import with China. Now I'm explaining about the export and import trend of Australia during last 30 years. The export and import trend of Australia is found to be drastic change in this last 30 years. The Australian export has rose up to 4.75 billions during from 1978 to 2018, and the import trend of Australia has rose to 36.25 billion in last 30 years. Now explaining about the trade to GDP. Trade to GDP is an indicator of relative importance of international trade in the economy of a country. It is the aggregate value of export and import over a time by GDP over a same period. Looking about the trade to GDP ratio of Australia, the trade to GDP ratio is found to be increased from 28.214 to 43.002 from 1978 to 2018. Thank you, and for the further explanation, I would like to call Jamuna.
Thanks, Lisa. Hi, my name is Jamuna Maharjan and my student ID is PVS2301, and I'm going to explain about trade pattern of China from 1978 to 2018. Now I'm going to explain about trade pattern of China. China is the manufacturing hub of the world economy as it exports large number of products in the world. China's GDP is second globally to US. The main importer of China product are US, Hong Kong, Mexico, Japan, etc. China manufacture has become the most significant retailer because of its reduced cost. In reality, both developed and developing countries are experiencing increasing competition from China's product. The top products that are imported are integrated circuit, crude oil, iron ores, and exported products are phone system, including smartphone, computer parts, etc. Now I am going to explain about trend of export and import from 1978 to 2018. We can find drastic change in China's export and import trade. In 1978, the export trade is 6.81 billion and import trade is 7.62 billion. Both export and import trend rises up to 2,655 billion and 2,548 billion respectively. Now I am going to explain about trend of China's trade to GDP. China's trade to GDP increased from below 10% in the late 1978 to 30.06% in 1998 and 32.42% in the mid 2000. It has increased to 57.5%, and China's trade to GDP ratio has since declined considerably to less than 40% in 2015. And now I would like to explain about trade balance of China. The period from 1975 to 1995 was the trade deficit, like minus 0.81 billion and minus 4.06 billion respectively. After 1995, the trade balance of China began to rise from 43.84 billion to 348.84 billion, which was the highest difference in export and import in China's economy. It gradually slowed down drastically to 106.62 billion. Now I would like to call Suresh Adhikari for further explanation.
Hello, I'm Suresh Adhikari. I'm going to talk about identification and analysis of factors responsible for changing trade patterns in Australia and China. The trade patterns refers to the way of managing trade relation across a nation and international borders. Australia import and export different goods. However, export rate of Australia is higher than import. The export rate is grown from 3.2 billion to 331.2 billion according to Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade 2019. UK has been largest receiver of Australia exported goods, and United States has become the largest economic partner of Australia over the last 30 years. The changing trade pattern in Australia consists of increased export rate of goods and service. The travel service comprise of highest exported trade which increased over the last 30 years. And with the time, Australia policy has been changed, and such policy affect the operation of form and formulation strategies. On the other hand, China is the leading exporter of product in various countries. In 2017, China exported value $2.26 trillion, which its imported value is 1.8 trillion. China is impaired trading patterns with US as both of countries have imposed high tariff on two-way goods service. China trade experience dramatically changed since the late 1970s. The government encouraged citizens to start their own business. Government support to foreign direct investment and remove the trade barriers. In 2008, with global finance and economic crisis, China faced some difficulties, but after 2015, trade rose up to peak. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rizal Zaki, and I'll be talking about our conclusion part. Talking about the trade pattern in China, it is controlled by its government and government of China, who are following the mercantilism theory, and Australia, whereas the trade pattern they follow rivalry theory. And seeing the trade pattern of China in past 30 years, we can see that China has been leading in export and import. But starting from 1975 to 1995, we can see China has suffered a great trade deficit, whereas after that period, China improved its trading capabilities and they succeeded in having trade surplus. They mainly focused on different products like integrated circuits, iron ores. These products mainly they mainly focused on selling in high quantities so they can reduce the cost of the product and thereby improving their trade surplus. And whereas Australia, we can see that it has an open market economy, and because of this open market system, their economy is dynamic and flexible. And the major product of Australia, or we can say major part that Australia exported was services like tourism and education. And Australia also focused on a lot of professional and financial services as well. And Australia also exported few of the main export product of Australia has been the iron ore, the coals, and we can see great mining sector in Australia. So at last, in comparison, we can see that China can be seen as one of the top exporter in the whole world, and whereas Australia is concerned, its main strength is in exporting services. And I think that's sum up our presentation. Thank you very much.